not to retread a conversation we already had, but Alex McWhirter, I think, is a good vehicle to continue a conversation we were talking about with this cycle, which is just, I get it. It's maybe redundant to keep talking about this, but I just think it's the most interesting thing right now. It's all that we're all talking about every single day is how long is this thing going to go on? Are we already done? Is Bitcoin already topped? Is the liquidity injection going to change things around? And Alex, of course, and there, we're at the point, Ewok, where there are people who probably don't even know who Alex is that watch this stream now. So for anybody that doesn't, for anybody that doesn't, so when Hex was Richard Hart's pretty much only creation last cycle, Alex invented Hedron first, and then ICOSA. Hedron to incentivize longer term Hex staking. It's basically a reward that you got, like inflationary token that you can mint prior to ending your Hex stakes. And you can do that on the icosa.pro site. I think there's other places too, but I know on there, there was a Hedron front end too. But then he also created ICOSA along with that was basically tied to the value of the T-share, I think is the way it actually works. And ICOSA really became like the more bullish asset of the two to hold. You can stake Hedron to earn ICOSA and vice versa and all these things. But he's really, mainly been away for the last couple of years, hypothetically working on rebuilding out V2 of ICOSA Hedron, where, it was the whole, split from Ethereum to Pulse Chain and having copies of them. And it sounds like that's been taking a back seat. But anyway, that whole preamble is just to talk about what he posted today in terms of the cycle, which we don't really get this. Oh, no, I didn't mean this. I know I just sent you this.
I thought you wanted to go there first. Okay, yeah. No problem.
Yeah, the one. Okay, so this is what he posted today about the cycle. All right, so he says, personally, I think this cycle is just starting. Like as a whole, BTC, ETH, and everything else included, all this upward momentum, I personally believe you can attribute to large players who over the past 2 to 3 years got the green light from Congress buying the bottom. But retail has more or less been dead in the market since mid-2023 or so. If the Fed had done what it probably needed to do and kept rates high because the average consumer is nearly priced out of life, yeah, for sure, I wouldn't think this. But in my opinion, they played their whole hand, and it wasn't a good hand. Debts and compounding leverage set a narrow range of what they could do, and the printers will go burr soon at the expense of the non-investing classes. The Genius Act will keep the inputs flowing, absorbing debts, creating new debt buyers, and keeping the show running for another couple rounds at least. Not financial advice, just my thoughts. I don't think I could have said it better, honestly. What do you make of this post? Because it certainly does feel like that. It really does feel like the launching pad is right now, and it really is just beginning. I don't know how much more room to run Bitcoin could have because it's already had a good cycle so far. But I agree with him. This kind of feels like the beginning, or maybe like where we should have been 6 months ago, here now. So
I completely agree with everything he said. I think. Did you turn your camera off on purpose?
Yeah, I'm got tissue in my nose, kind of.
That's fine. So yeah, I completely agree with everything he said. I do believe, and this was again one of the theories that we had talked about last week. Maybe didn't go into complete detail, but how the government, it was time to turn the printers on, to print the money. That's kind of why we saw gold go up. I also heard some speculation of them, because of the Genius Act, that were probably going to buy in a lot of stable coins. Like they were going to hold stables or print them themselves if they can. How the Fed works is if they can print it and mint it themselves, then, why not? And unfortunately, that's what exactly they've done to the US dollar and devalued it so much because they printed, entirely too much of it. Now, in general, that's bad for stable coins in crypto. It's good for other things because as the money gets devalued, the value has to go up to equate to inflation, right? It just takes more of those dollars to buy what once was lower. So yeah, I completely agree with Alex. He's a very smart mind, and if you aren't familiar with him or the things he's done, um, there was also discussion on the other post that I had pulled up first about his Sigma protocol. He's looking to do something very similar to an index type fund, crypto based index. So very cool idea. Look into his stuff. I mean, he is a very intelligent guy. One of the very first builders that was on Hex that did create Hedron and the ICOSA protocol as well. So yeah, I think he hits it right on the head, and I do believe the Genius Act is definitely going to come into play here once you see that December 1st thing roll around, where they're not going or they stop reducing the holdings that they have in their funds. I do see some stable coins being added to that. I would be pretty certain of it.
Yeah, I think so too. I think he hits it on the nail here. And yeah, about retail not being here. I don't even remember 2023 at all. So I don't know if it felt like retail was here in mid 2023. I don't really remember that, but